Miami Hurricanes lost at NC State 20-6.
It's the recap show. It's the recap show.
I thoroughly, you know what I thoroughly enjoyed last night?
What?
Best part of the game.
The dog.
The dog. The dog running out and grabbing the tee after the kickoff. That was easily the best part of the night for me. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun.
The fact that they trained that little doggy.
I actually had my kids. Like, how often do they have to train this thing?
I actually had my kids, so they were watching. I go, oh, Dad, look, it's a dog. I was like, what is it doing? I was like, I had to get the tee. To which later on in the game, my daughter, complete volleyball player that she is, she's like, hey, where's the tee? I'm like, it's a punt. You don't use a tee on a punt. We might have been able to use that dog on offense. I don't know.
I mean, where do you guys want to start? Where do you? I mean, all right. So let me just say,
looked great. Defense looked great. Yeah.
Let me just say this: that there's no doubt, right, that we're 6-3. That this team is better than last year. That the roster overhaul that is underway is certainly better than it was last year. Things are better than they were last year. That said, dude, there's definitely stuff that is killing all of us that we're going to have to talk about. So wherever you want to start. Defense, fucking awesome. We said defense travels. They travel, bro. That defense is the real deal. That defense deserves the ability to play for an ACC championship. They're not going to get it, but they deserve it.
Oh, that's a great point. I like that. They do. Offensive line, I still thought they did well. I mean, Mark Fletcher did phenomenal in terms of game balls. Yes. I think we're giving him early. I think it's consensus pick that Mark Fletcher gets a game ball. I think offensive line allowing him to get those yards gets a game ball. And I think the defense absolutely gets a game ball. 1,000%. Cam Kinchen's got another interception. So I'm pretty sure he's the ACC leader. ACC leader. Would have to check the stats later.
You could have had like 4 last night.
We're
like gonna 2 in the first drive, for crying out loud.
We're just gonna have to touch on it, and I've thought about this, and it's funny because I was standing in the paint online yesterday. I think people were trying to throw holy water on me and accuse me of spins and this and that. Listen, I have eyes too, and 2 things are capable of being true. 2 things can have independent thought, and even when I go ahead and criticize an offense, you're immediately going to pull me back in and say, about the quarterback. So let's talk about the quarterback. All right. It is painfully obvious at this point he's lost his confidence, right? You could call it the yips. I've experienced this in my real life. For those that don't know, I was a professional athlete. I played for the Texas Ranger organization. I was a kid that was gifted with a really good arm. And then one day I woke up and my arm, I couldn't use it anymore. And it's painful. And I understand a lot of what I'm seeing with Tyler because it's so hard, even as a whole family, to witness this, right? Something you've done so many times, even at the beginning of the year. The first 4 games of the season, you weren't seeing this. And it was, there's some yip throws, right? The yips, Chuck Knobloch, Rick Ankiel. I mean, you've seen this. It's almost debilitating to see. And when it happens, it takes root and it just manifests and it becomes this, it's toe scoop. It paralyzes you, right? And that's what we saw last night. We saw basically a quarterback paralyzed by fear, paralyzed by the fact that things that he's been able to do routinely in the course of his career. This is the game he's played since he was little. He's just not making throws he's capable of making. And now all of a sudden you start seeing ghosts out there. I made the comment, I think he's seeing 22 people on defense, right? Because then the decisions, you don't want to throw it. He starts checking the ball down a little bit. Balls get errant. The interception happens, and it's just spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. It's something that can't necessarily be fixed on the field. It really can't. Like I told you, I lived through it. That's not something that's a game that has to be played upstairs, that has to be won. And how the University of Miami family, Tyler, how they overcome that's going to be on them. The only thing that I could suggest is just to remind you and remind everyone that's the game you've played since you've been little. It hasn't changed. You can throw the ball. You just have to have the confidence and believe in yourself. But at this point, the elephant in the room, He's played himself into a quarterback controversy. The calls to start Emery, you're already bowl eligible at this point to kind of like, you can't ignore those, right? And in terms of keeping it separated, I'm just talking about the quarterback play. After last night's performance, I don't see a situation, unless there's this magical pill that can fix all parties involved. I just don't see it happening, boys, where you go out next week and you can't look at it as a liability case. Something has to be changed, and in a hurry.
Mm-hmm. All right. No, it was well said. I was hoping that we could just skip next week.
No. Can't skip next week.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunately, that's not unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest picture is we're not playing. I mean, I would say Georgia Tech, but we lost. We're not playing NC State, but we lost. We're playing FSU. And for Mario and company to make that change and have Emory, it's not at home, and have Emory start at Doak next week. That's I would think a change would be made, but I think if a change isn't made, that's probably the reason. That would be tough.
But all right, so you're like, this sucks. It really does.
It sucks.
It sucks. Like,
because
listen, those of you that have been listening to this pod for years know. I mean, Tyler's from Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut. I was on that the minute that he committed. I was all excited. We had him on as a commit, this and that. Awesome. Here's the cold heart of reality. That has nothing to do with him as a person. Still incredibly fond of him. Here's the reality. When you look at his stats, his game started. We were living off something that was going on 18 months ago. And it's almost safe to say, you can make the argument now that what we saw second half of that season 2 years ago was a quarterback getting hot. We've seen it in all sorts of sports. He was in the zone. He got hot. Whatever you want to call it, he got on a streak, and he was hot as shit, and he was slinging it around. Haven't seen that since. Saw it in Texas A&M. That was it. One game this year. Didn't see it all last year. Virginia Tech was a decent game. North Carolina was a big game, but they lost. But just not what we saw that first year. Safe to say that wasn't who he is all the time. And now we're in a situation where I don't know if it's lack of confidence, whatever it is, but what we're seeing now is just not even close. Not even close. Double pumping, thinking, taking the ball back down, not sure of himself. Everything you said, Ro. Saw it all last night. And at this stage, this goes into the bigger issue. I understand going on the road to Doak and this and that. But what do you have if you don't do that? Like, what have you seen from Tyler that leads you to believe that he's not going to go out there and throw for 50% and 3 interceptions in that game in the first half? And just, like, what have you seen that says that's not going to happen? So why not just go with the kid? You got to go with somebody, So that's kind of where I am. Like, bro, the way he played last night, we'll be lucky to score 3 points up there next week. It's not like he's giving us the best chance to win at this stage, which I thought that was still the case going into NC State. Like, he's probably giving us the best chance to win that game. I don't think that anymore now. Like, he's gone, bro. He is checked out. I don't know what's going on, but this ain't him. It's not him.
Toast, I think it's fair to say we saw him get hot 2 years ago. It wasn't on last year. For 4 games earlier in the season, it was on. And then once we hit conference play, for whatever reason, and culmination of last night, it's off. So it's on again, off again. You are what you are. All right? You want some denouncement? It was like people were like clamoring, right? Oh, you better go on the show and no, I'm just going to call it how I see it. Still somebody's son, I'll tell you. But at this point, that's what you are. You're streaky. We have a streaky quarterback. It depends which one showed up. The one that showed up the last 4 games, not going to get it done, Toast. Not going to get it, Toast.
Is, bro, it's not like streaky within a game. It's freaky within the season. Like, it's not like he's gonna, like, he'll all of a sudden go on in the third quarter. He's gonna go 9 for 10. You know what I'm saying? Just that's not like what if he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it for the whole game.
Yeah, there's enough body of work. There's 3 different coordinators, which is tough in itself, but there's 3 different coordinators. It was on again, off again, on again, off again. It's that kind of relationship. That's what you can expect. I mean, there's enough body of work on film to corroborate that. That's all I'm saying. I mean, and long term, can you win? We said, hey, for the University of Miami to kind of change the direction of this program, they had the ability to do something special with the 4 games remaining. Now, it was tough, NC State, Florida State. And I was thinking what you could do special is still lose to Florida State and win the other 3, right? Game at home against Louisville. That's what I thought. But I said, and I quote, it was going to take great quarterback play, not just good, just great quarterback play. And last night, what was sad? Because the defense is playing so well, you didn't even need great quarterback play. You needed like a little above average. The touchdown going in, bad ball, again, a yippee type throw. You've made that throw. You have to put a little touch on that. You get that one bad strip sack fumble, right? That led to points. Not getting your guys set up. I mean, these are just, when you're thinking of so many other things, the paralysis through analysis starts to set up. But I'm going to hold firm. You didn't even need great quarterback play to win that game. Your defense was playing lights out. So it's frustrating. I walked out of that game, Scoopy, thinking we have more questions than answers. 6-3, a record sounds good. That's decent, but we have more questions than answers going into Florida State week.
Yeah, I think we do. I mean, I'm not going to continue. You guys have beat this to nauseam, which understandably so, and deserved at this point. I am, if we're going to talk about the whole picture, I'm a couple of things last night that just drove me crazy. Number one, and I'll say it, and I believe that Mario touched on it. The lack of, and you want to talk about Tyler and where it kind of went off the rails, right? Was the Georgia Tech game. And we said this, right? They've now given everybody a blueprint. Let's drop 8 in coverage. Let's make these windows as tight as possible. And that's how we're, that's how we want to beat Miami, right? That's how we're going to do it. Dawson hasn't. And maybe he's handcuffed. I don't know. But the creativity on that offense has gone from the first 4 games of I wanted to anoint him. I wanted to give him Gaddis's Broyles Award because for the first 4 games, he was brilliant. You saw 4 different game plans. He exposed defenses. Really, really good. To now, I see nothing. Like literally, I feel like I'm watching the Gaddis offense from last year. The creativity is just gross. And I think you put out there the play against A&M with Jacoby, right? You run him into motion, you peel him off the backside. Now, that was against man. And against zone, we're just really, 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 really poor. And it is what it is. And until we figure it out, that's what we're going to see. You're going to see it in perpetuity, as I like to say. Until we figure out how to beat zone, we're going to continue to face zone. And it's going to get, and we're not going to see much difference, to be quite honest with you. The second thing for me, and I was hot about this last night. Ro just told you how this game was going. Defense was stout. They had 5 yards of offense in the second half. 5. They couldn't do shit. Literally. You're on the 3-yard line. It's 4th and I think you could have gotten a first down. I believe you could have gotten a first down.
You could have gotten a first down, but you're down by 4 points. Right? You're down by 4.
You're down 4.
10 minutes to go. 9 minutes to go.
Okay. Your offense has shown you what? They've shown you nothing. They've shown you they can't move the ball very well.
Outside of running, that's it. Outside of Fletcher, that's it.
Okay. So, but you do have the best kicker in the country. He did miss one. It happens. And you're going to spin this to the fact that, he missed one earlier in the game.
It was like from 47.
Yeah, that's fine. But they're going to spin it to where, he should have done this because he missed a kick earlier. Okay, that's fine. You have to kick the field goal there. I've seen this game. This is what we've all seen this game. And then the other spin is, well, if you don't get a yard, you don't deserve to win. You don't deserve to win if you can't get a yard. Fuck off. That has nothing to do with it. Are you there to win? Are you trying to win? You're supposed to try to win the game. Right? This offense has shown you nothing. Kick the field goal. And then I say, it's a chip shot. Oh, 45 yards is a chip shot? That right there shows me got some rocks up here, dude. You're on the 3. I promise you it's not a 45-yard kick. That would be a chip shot. You kick the field goal, man. You take the points. You're down 10-9. Your defense is stout. You have a chance now to get to just positive field position to attempt to kick another one to win the game. But if you can't get a yard, you don't deserve to win the game. That seems a little caveman-esque to me. The whole point is to win the game, get more points. So you get stopped, momentum shifts, and they stick it down your fucking throat on a 97-yard drive.
And now it's a 2-score game.
And now it's a 2-score game.
And now it's a 2-score game.
No chance.
Yeah. Now it's not an 8-point game, which it would have been.
Even if you kick the field goal, right, they score, it's still a one-possession game.
It's still a one-possession game. It's called strategy.
Now you're screwed. Now you've got zero chance. So anyone who wants to come at me with this stuff and all the it's a bunch of crap, man. That to me is once again mismanagement of the highest level. I don't understand it. No, you can't not kick the field goal there. It's I don't know.
The way the game was going was fine. And just real touch. Now look, there was a break point. We talked about the quarterback. Now we're sliding on to the coaching. That was a game management thing. There were still some game management perplexities. Hasselbeck called it out too, right? It's not like it was just us. He calls it out every single time. It's a reoccurring theme. But my issue was the play calling in itself if you wanted to go for it. You go into a bunch set. Now, let me just tell you, doing student of the game, we've run one toss play from the bunch set. One, right? And it was not very successful because Mark Fletcher and they ran it to the boundary and it was just disjointed. So when you're in that bunch set, you haven't really run a toss play all year. What do teams typically, they play your tendency, right? So what did they do with the guys from the back? They crashed it. They didn't respect anything outside. Tyler's not giving you that run threat outside. And then the other issue is they're bringing in a lot of beef to stop you on a short yardage situation, but you're in a bunch with all your little wide receivers. Yeah, McCormick was part of that bunch too, but I didn't understand why we were bringing little guys to block big guys. So when the little guys failed to the bigger guys, I just didn't necessarily like that play call. Okay? That's it. I thought we could have done better as far as a play call in that particular one. It's all right. We could have that opinion as fans. You know, it wasn't that we should just throw it deep all the time. I gave you a rational thought process, so why I didn't feel that play was necessarily the best play call.
Well, now, how many times we run that play?
A lot. At that point, we had run it a lot. Bringing wide receivers close to the formation and run.
Who you bringing in every time?
Mark Fletcher. That's and then
the wide receiver who you bringing in.
Xavier Restrepo was asked to come in and block a lot.
Right. And then
Colby Young got
catch last night.
Yeah. Colby Young got blasted too by a linebacker bringing in. You're putting them at disadvantageous spots. But it is what it is. That was the game plan. That's what you thought was going to give you a best chance to win. But what if I told you guys this? We understand the woeful ineptitude of Josh Gaddis, right? 17.9 was his point total against conference. We are sitting right now at 22 points, 22-8. Okay? A little less than 5 points. We improved in conference by only 4.9 points a game. As bad as we saw the offense. Now, I want to go back to the beginning of the year. I know we came out on a hot start, but I called it just another offense. I called it that.
J-O!
I called it that. And the reason why I called it that, because I watched every single snap from last year. And when I was done, the reason why I called it just another offense, the reason why I'm on this, I just don't see this creative element to it, was because of that. And I think you are what you are. We are only 4.9 points a game. I know, like I said, they're independent thought. I know Tyler's struggling. Tyler might get pulled. and deservingly so. Put that in a box, put a bow on it. I understand that. It's a negative synergistic effect. It's cancerous. They're negating each other. But I'm just trying to tell you, as poor as the quarterback play has been, we don't have that creative element. The Miami Dolphins are about to play, if you're listening to this, they're about to play Kansas City. Look at that creative element. They're right up the road. Look what they do in a run game. Brashard Smith, what did he do against Clemson? Didn't even get a ball. But look at what, and one of Toast's keys to the game was control Concepcion. Look at how they use Concepcion. But we can't do that. A quarterback that's struggling, hey, why don't we get the Wildcat? Why don't we put our playmakers in that? Hey, you like this play? They were the much more creative element. And then to which I got to reply, if you got to rely on gadgets to beat NC State, you're an idiot, bro.
Well,
they relied on that and they beat us. They beat us.
What's the word?
They beat us.
Gimmicky.
Yeah,
you can't do that. It's too gimmicky.
Yeah.
If you got to rely on gimmicks, but what's the alternative? Just lining up and just trying to out physical everybody? Because how did that work on 4th and 2 when the game was on the line? 4th and 1. It didn't. It didn't. Sometimes you just got to use gimmicky to your advantage. It's not even gimmicky. It's just football. It's creativity. Toasty.
All right. So you guys have been far too kind. So if Gaddis's offense was ass, this is ass light. That's the first thing for you, Dawson. All right. We've gone from ass to ass light. Slight improvement. As Ro just showed you, 4.9 points per game. I don't understand how you can be a head coach this fucking long, this many games on the sideline, and you don't have the common sense that a 10-year-old does playing Madden on how to execute the last 2 minutes of a fucking half or a game. I don't understand how you can have zero fucking strategy, Mario. Your job, put the kids that I've recruited, this stud roster that I've recruited, put them in the best position so they can succeed. You don't do that. The basic strategy of football 101 escapes you. You throw it out the fucking window. Not gonna kneel, you throw it out the fucking window. The look of just confusion between Dawson, your quarterback, your facial expression every single game when there's about 90 seconds left in the game or in the half, and you guys don't know what the fuck you're gonna do. Do we kneel? Do we throw it? Do we run? Do we take a timeout? Do we not tie? It's fucking painful to watch, dude. Hasselbeck is sick of watching it. He's called like 4 games. He's like, I can't fucking do this shit anymore. I can't fucking do it anymore.
Every call.
I can't fucking do it. What are they fucking doing? My 7-year-old son learned this after an hour of Madden. The fuck are you doing, bro? $8 million a year? How have you not gotten better at this? This has been following you in your career from FIU to fucking Oregon to here. How have you not fucking taken an off season and understood this shit and gotten better at it? Utter incompetence. Complete incompetence. I have zero faith. Outside of recruiting, zero faith for you to do fucking anything. This roster has to be so fucking good, a la 2001, like Larry Coker, to overcome your ineptitude as a game manager. That's what we need. A roster so fucking good, they can overcome your and Dawson's ineptitude. Have fun getting that on campus, bro. So that's where I'm at. Like, the roster's better, the team's better, but you are fucking literally, quite possibly, the worst game management coach I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. We're paying $8 million a year.
To me, close to home, I'm not going to say the name, but I watched this young player, right? It's in volleyball. And for whatever reason, when the game comes on, looks great in practice, does great. But when she gets set, the timing is completely off. Like when the game lights are on, the timing, it's just not there. Like it's too inconsistent. And I think that's Mario at this point. You know what we said about Tyler? On again, off again, on again. This is who you are. When Mario has made bonehead game day decisions and he has a track record, that's who he is. So you're right, Toast. So all of us, how the hell what do you do moving forward? My only suggestion is, even though you are being paid $8 million a year, whoever's in that building needs to look in the mirror and say, I'm paying me $8 million to try to get a 2001 roster. Anything but a 2001 roster is a failure because that's what I'm good at. And now that I'm not good at this, I don't have the timing. I don't have, when the game lights are on, I can't figure out to kneel. I can't figure out when to take timeouts. I can't figure out when to go for it, when not to go for it. then get somebody on the sidelines who can. Right? That's what a CEO does. I can't do this anymore. I'm physically incapable. Toast, you made the compelling argument. It's followed you wherever you go. It's physically incapable. So find somebody on the sidelines who can. Hire somebody just to make those decisions for you. That's all they focus on. Because you're right. They keep melding with each other. Tyler looks not confident, right? You could see his body language. You can pick up on it. It's very palpable. Mario looks lost. He does. I mean, when Mario in those situations, he's just got, this is his face. Ready? Right here. And that's what you get for a good 10 seconds. And I'm like, call a timeout. Neil, do something. Somebody hit Mario. He's stuck. And get somebody to just change the narrative here. Because you're right, Toast. It's followed him everywhere he's went.
Can you do me a favor, bro? I need, when you go back and you do student of the game, if you do it this week.
It's going to be later tonight because
But at least look at it for me. I need to know the fourth down where I'm tweeting incessantly, what are we doing here?
The 4th and 1?
Yeah.
What are we shotgun?
Doing? Why are we kicking this? Or why aren't we kicking this? Why are we going for this? Our defense. Everyone says that I was being reactionary. No, if you looked at the tweets prior, I'm screaming from the rooftops, don't go for this.
Mm-hmm.
They call a timeout.
Mm-hmm. And they came back in the same.
And I need to know if they were in the same personnel in the same set to run the same play. I do. I need to know this because what'd you call a timeout for? Do you think you were going to get a different look from the defense if you ran out there with the same formation to run the same play?
No.
Because that's the stuff that Toast is talking about. And that you created. Okay, fine. Take time. I don't care. Take time. Get it right, dude. What do you have on your sheet for 4th and 1?
Well, and also with this offensive line, with how much attention the tush push is getting, with a quarterback that's 6'3", 6'4", and is built. Like, are you kidding me? You guys can't just do a quarterback sneak or something for a fucking yard. Like, you can't just you go for shotgun. So you're throwing the ball 5 yards back. So now you got to get 6 yards instead of 1. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
You gotta,
typical these days, though.
You got to keep up with the offensive trends. And before everything was in a gun, I just think you do yourself a really huge disservice not coming under shotgun once in a while, because those quick end arounds, orbit, like stuff like that you could do under center, your back as a quarterback gets to the defense, your play action game picks up a little bit more. There's things you could do. I mean, the Dolphins aren't. I keep referencing the Dolphins because they're the beautiful game right now. They're the beautiful game. They're the Brazilian counterpart, right? They're the Brazilian. It's the beautiful game. And what we're doing is not beautiful. I mean, think about this. All right, you start off in a bunch. You end up looking at it. Go on 2, see if you could get the easy first down. If it's not there on 2, shift open, come under center and run a snap. So you would have had a 2 count, a shift, and then you go ahead and quarterback sneak this. That was an option. You just decided to stay in the bunch, give a long, elongated dive play with little guys to block big guys. It didn't work. You can micro.
Are we not able to do something like that though? I mean, just
no.
I'm not. Well,
but that's what I'm talking about, Scoop. That's what I'm saying. It's not creative. Oh,
I know.
And the biggest argument I was getting, well, how can you be creative when your quarterback sucks? I'm like, listen, I'm not saying creative in terms of the passing concept. In terms of passing concepts, no, you're right. What do you want as far as passing games other than screens? Because he could see the field like in a 2-foot box in front of him right now. I'm not talking about a downfield element needs to get creative. I'm not saying downfield. I'm just saying look across the way. Look at how they use Concepcion. Use Brashard Smith that way. Shift a little bit. And then when Mario said, I was like, oh, look, he said it. He goes, we got to design it a little bit better for things to come in the clearer view. We got to design. And they're like, oh, that's just coaches speak. I'm like, I've heard coaches speak. We've all heard coaches speak. When a part of the vocabulary in coaches speak do you say, we got to design it a little better, right? It's like we have to coach it a little better, right? We have to, but I've never heard the specific term. We have to design it better. And I'm like, maybe he listens to us on his lifts. I mean, Manny used to listen to us. Yeah, not anymore. Nobody's listening to us anymore from that side of the street. But it is what it is. They're competing right now. They're like, hey, you hold it. Who wants to hold the baton right now? It's not a good. It's not a good.
I was I caught I caught the Boston College game. I think it was on Friday night, right? And their starting quarterback now was a former starter at Oklahoma State, or had like 10,000 yards passing. They were able to get him to go to Boston College just to have the chance to compete for the starting job that he didn't win. But then midway through the season, now he's their starter and he's given them some life and they're on a run now and everything. So again, it's impossible to get that done. You can't bring anyone in. Can't bring any veterans in the portal.
Toast, I want to give you credit because when you initially made the claim and said that we needed to bring a veteran quarterback in the portal, I kind of was like, no, you didn't. I scoffed at it a little bit, maybe internally. I was like,
many did.
I was like, no. And then halfway through that game, I'm like, Toast is right. Toast is right. Because in a situation like this, and it's not the end of the world, right? It could be, let's be honest, it could be the catalyst in the end of the career at University of Miami for Tyler. I don't know what he internally has to go through. I don't know what he needs to gain confidence-wise to get back out of the hole he's in. But there is that reality. It could be done. Okay? Or it could be a slight hiccup over 4 games, but it could be a hiccup. And when you have a hiccup, sometimes you just need that other person to kind of come in. They don't have the hiccup. They give you the best chance to win. We didn't do that last night. I actually put the gif on like a manager coming in, pointing to his left arm. Some days it's not your day, kid. Go out. I got somebody else. Don't worry about it.
But you really don't. That's the problem. You've left your quarterback and you really don't have a solution to go to in that.
That's what he's trying to say. Yes.
And exactly. Yes. You don't have that, and that's where you're right. You know, I know Jake Garcia's third team right now. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to have Jake Garcia back just for last night. Because that's what you needed.
But here's my. I agree with you. I didn't understand how in today's NIL world that could be potentially viable, but Toast has kind of blue chipped ratioed us into believing that this is possible, which apparently it is now. And the part that it kind of really filters into what he said is that everyone's clamoring for Emory, and as you said, give him the hook, right? And let's give somebody else a chance here. But why doesn't he? And that concerns me. I'm not saying that maybe I don't know if he's playing favorites. I don't know what he's doing, but he's not making the change, which to Toast's point tells me potentially maybe they don't feel that Emory's the right guy. I don't know, but you would think that with this kind of stretch of play that maybe they would go that direction, and they just haven't. And I'm hoping Emory is the guy. I'm hoping Emory is the guy for the future moving forward, or Jakari. I mean, whoever it is, I want to make sure that somebody's able to do this, obviously. But I'm a little concerned about, is it Emory, because they've not even sniffed that as a possibility. And they've had opportunity to. No one will call you crazy, but he hasn't.
One of the biggest things that got traction for me yesterday on social was a question. I was like, listen, there could be a change onto Emory, but what in the game plan makes you think that Dawson's all of a sudden with Emory inserted into the offense is going to pay dividends? I saw the Clemson game plan. He called it the hardest game plan he ever had, the hardest game he ever had to call in his life, meaning because Emory Williams was back there. So obviously in the back of Mario's mind, he made that comment publicly. Mario thinks if I put in Emory, my OC is going to be handcuffed. Now the starter's handcuffing you. So now everything's handcuffed. And I think there's a personal attachment, boys. I really do. I think Mario wants Tyler to succeed, right? There's an emotional investment, with him possibly leaving, convincing him to stay, telling him they're going to get him a good OC, seeing what he's done on film, coming into the program saying he's the best one of the best in the country. he wants that. He has that emotional attachment. He sees it, right? He wants it to happen. And there's not this black and white, yes, no. Last night it was no. Last night a different coach says, I can see it. You don't have it. Sit down. There's no emotional attachment to that decision. I think he's emotionally attached. I think, like some of us, we want, like you Toast, I wanted him to, he's from Connecticut. We want it. We've seen it. But in a game like last night, I felt the decision you should have made it probably at halftime.
So on that point, because I was thinking of it last night, like, you got to realize, and this is bizarre in this day and age, Mario is completely loyal to a quarterback and is basing that loyalty off of 6 games where he wasn't even his head coach from 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mario hasn't seen that TVD. He's never coached that TVD that he saw a year and a half ago on tape in the 2021 season or whatever. All right. The fact that you still have that much loyalty to a quarterback that never performed that like that for you, only did it for the last guy, blows me away. Like, what? Like, I understand when you first got here, pumping him up, you didn't want him to go into the portal. I totally get all of that, and fine. But you're a year and a half in now, and you haven't seen any of that, yet you are still fiercely loyal to him, which, you know, is great for you, great from a personality standpoint. Congratulations on that. But I don't get why you're so afraid to pull that trigger. Like, you didn't recruit him. You want
to know what's so Miami?
What?
When did Tyler have his most success? With who?
Manny.
No. Yeah, well, Manny, but with Lashley.
No,
right?
Lashley. Yeah.
Lashley, yeah.
He's going to be like, hey, you know what? I need a fresh start.
Yeah.
He's going to go to SMU.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go with Lashley. They're going to play us.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to murder us.
No, they don't play us next year. They don't play us next year.
Yeah, maybe he gets.
No.
That was Dad. That was a spin
that'd be
story
awful.
there.
That'd be awful.
I was fully on board with that.
TBD, Brinson, and Rooster just go off on us for like 500 yards total. Yeah, sure. Okay, that'd be great.
Like all day. Like,
oh my god.
No, I don't want to kill myself. What are you doing?
It's the Care Bear jumping into the van again. It's just evaporating to cotton.
Oh my god.
I do want to say, hey, you know, that's the mood after a loss. You're going to harp on the negative. I mean, we said it. Guidry's going to be the guy that you're going to celebrate more out of the coordinator hires. He has done a phenomenal job. He did a phenomenal job on film last year. He's doing a phenomenal job on film this year. The guy can coach. Really appreciate what he's done on defense. I don't think he gets enough credit. The linebackers are playing really well. Cam seeing the ball well. James had a fantastic game. He had that one bad stretch where he had that personal foul and then didn't wrap up, and it led to a touchdown. But I said before that drive even happened, and you know what's funny, Scoop? When we didn't get that 4th down, I called it. I was like, hey, they're going to go down and score. I just knew it. You watch enough games. I was like, the defense can only bail you out.
That's why you can't risk that.
The defense can't bail you out that long. But the reality, I said, even if they go down and march the whole field, which they did and scored, I'm like, I'm proud of the defense. I'm proud of their effort this year, what they did against Clemson, what they did last night. They have done a phenomenal job.
Dude, they held him to 231 yards.
See,
and you
lost. Key. Under 300 for me. Under 300 for me.
You lost 20-6.
Yeah. But he deserves. He absolutely 1,000% deserves a lot of credit. Go ahead.
I'm changing my opinion. Guidry 1,000% makes better jambalaya.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Even though he does. Yeah, he does. I said he did because he has the thicker accent.
I thought Dawson just, he cooked it slow or he was a little bit more mellow. No, it's Guidry. Guidry all day. Better jambalaya.
100%.
Give me some crawfish, man.
I think I'm guessing Dawson's is rather bland.
Yeah, it is.
Not enough.
Not nearly the spice seasoning. You want. Yeah, no kick in that jambalaya.
Yeah.
Mark Fletcher's the real deal too.
Mark Fletcher. Yeah, listen, dude, that from offense. I mean, he gets an A yesterday. The rushing game so I give the offense like a C-. I give the rushing game a B+ and the passing game an F.
Yeah. How many yards? How many yards did he have yesterday?
He had 118 on 23 carries.
Okay.
Average 5 a carry.
Yeah, you just can't.
And listen, something else.
Can't let
and something else.
Help me.
They're like, oh, you want more run game diversity, and it was successful last night. Running at 5 yards a clip, and that's great. Mark Fletcher. Credit the offensive line though. I don't necessarily think it was just we're beating the guy in front of you because that's Mario's influence. You got a remarkable offensive line. They've improved. That's another game ball to me. I mean, the offensive line in terms of the run game, you deserve it again. And they're going to grade out well again. Okay, So I'm telling you, they give you the opportunity to just line up and just hand off the ball and be successful. We haven't always had that at the University of Miami, right? We didn't have that last year. It remarkably changed. But again, it's not like it's some revolutionary play call. It's just here, hand it off and go. So yes, it was successful because it was physical. But again, it's kind of bland. It really is.
And two, I think, and going back to Tyler and Dawson and I'm not sure either one knows what the other wants from one another. It's kind of weird, right? Because you saw at the end of the post game after last week, he needs to check down more. I need more checkdowns, right? Last night,
he checked down more.
He checked down a lot, right? And most of them on 3rd and 8, 10, 12. Everyone's playing from behind the sticks and checking down, and then we don't get the first down, right? So it's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? That kind of thing just drove me nuts. You ask him to check down more, and then he just check downs a ton, and we suck.
It's a divorce, Scoopy, and I'm telling you at this point, it's like it's not me, it's you. It's not you, it's me. No, it's me, it's you. They're pointing, irreconcilable differences at this point. It's
so you're saying in this season we need to get another offensive coordinator again?
I'm not saying that, but he would need to. It's a good base offense. There's things that really, really work. It is better than Gaddis. All right. I'm not but it's average. Okay. The way I see it, it's an average offense. It relies on him to call a really good game, right? His play calling needs to be on. He's not as good as a designer. Follow me. See if this makes sense. I think sometimes as a play caller, you could get in your bag, right? You're just one step ahead of the curve on your play calls. But I think sometimes a good play design will help you, right? That little end around reverse, that under center, that putting Burchard, like what they did to us. They put Concepcion, they put this max bunch look out to the flats and they ran it. Like when you don't do that, you don't get that like little boost of just being a great designer. So you're relying on him to call a great call after a great call, and it's impossible. Even the best of the best are going to have bad play calls. That's natural. That's human. I mean, sometimes that guy across from you is going to beat you. And that's where I find my biggest deficiency. I like a lot of the stuff it does. So much better than last year. I just need a little bit more. And people are like, oh, last year was your boy. At one point, I when he was here, he had a bad stretch of games, and I said to his credit, and he fixed it. And what was my complaint, boys? It's going too fast. The tempo isn't helping you like you think it's helping you. He slowed down, and the offense got better. This one, just a casual observation from a fan. If you could just go in and script a good 10 to 15 and put it in your bag, and when things are reeling, you could go to this play, right? Hey, on the goal line, 4th and 1, this has been working in practice. This is a nice design. It gives me a really good chance of success. It's not relying on that person to beat that person, and that's it. If you keep relying on me beating you, they're going to beat you sometimes. And that's my overall criticism. I just think that it's not coming from there's always room to improve. I think going forward, if he's here, I don't think this is a thing where he needs to be wholesale fired at the end of the season. That's Mario's call to make. But if he's here, he does have to reinvent some of his tendencies. He does, because the proof is in the pudding. You're only 5 points, less than 5 points better than Gaddis in conference. That's it. They fired Gaddis last year to get 5 more points better and I don't think that's good enough. I don't think anybody thinks that's good enough. I don't think anyone in regardless of Tyler's hampering you or not, you just can't be 5 points better in conference. You just can't do it.
We had an old friend last night that put on quite an offensive display in terms of scheming. Our boy Jed Fish in Arizona knocked off UCLA, and he had one hell of a game plan going last night. Man, it was fun to watch late at night. But
Jed Fish was a good OC. Hold on, I do want to touch on something real quick. in what Rose said. And this concerned me when he said it. And this was when he got here, I think, when he was hired. This concerned me only because it seems like it's a lack of accountability a little bit. Doesn't mean, and I'm with Ro. Personally, I do like Dawson. I like his offense. More creativity would be great. But he said when he got here, I'm really good if my quarterback's really good. Something to that extent. If I don't have a good quarterback, I'm not very good. Which tells me that you're not necessarily going to get that creativity you're looking for, Ro.
Mm-hmm.
He's not scheming to make up for a lack of deficiency. And I'm worried about that. Not going to lie. That worries me. But hey, good times. This is fun.
Listen,
hey, we're 6-3.
Yeah. 6-3. We got FSU. We got hate week coming up. FSU game. We'll have our full preview episode for what's going to be a phenomenal.
And you can't. Nobody can bitch at me about my Boston College pick now.
Yeah. No.
And my 7-5 is looking good right around now.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, 7-5, baby.
I don't think there's any. There's not much chance we get there. I don't think.
Yeah, I'd say right now it's about a 1% chance to do better than that.
I hate you sometimes.
All right. Well, listen, we got Dolphins football about to. We're recording this at 8 a.m, so it's 8:47. We got 13 minutes before a fun football game between them and the Chiefs kicks off from Germany. So I can smell the wife doing breakfast right now. So we're gonna wrap this bitch up. Yeah, boys.
Let's go.
So we'll see you guys on Thursday morning. We'll record Wednesday night as always. Go Canes.
Go. Bang.